and media pundits alike concerning the trials of our nation facing post-September 11th. From the talking heads of television towers to the cut-and-paste political hacks of mainstream newspapers, every authority figure in American culture is crying out, warning us of the new social and political realities that lie ahead and assuring us that terrorism isn't just a problem that dwells over there anymore. What these fools and liars fail to mention, however, is that terrorism is only a symptom of an even more deadly and insidious import, tyranny, more specifically, tyranny of the mind. Famous evil geniuses like Julius Caesar and Adolf Hitler understood that the easiest way to win a war was not fight one, not physically anyway. These men understood that the most effective way to dominate a people is to make them believe there are no other realistic alternatives. Or better yet, to define what is reality itself. By the masterful use of propaganda, Caesar and Hitler narrowly defined problems of society while simultaneously portraying themselves as the only possible solution, allowing both tyrants to win the first and most important fight of any war, the battle for the minds of the people. Through the same basic tactics, both men gained absolute control over their respective societies. Unfortunately, these tactics of control haven't been relegated to a dusty history book. They continue to rage around those of us in America today. The American culture of today is being assaulted along the same lines as Caesar and Hitler used long ago. We are truly a divided people who agree or disagree along party, ethnic, racial, and religious lines. Much like the priests of centuries past, no decision can be made without first consulting our appointed political or social leader. We take sides with different factions within our country, arguing about single issues that are presented to us and whose sole purpose is to divide us into isolated groups. Instead of meaningful debate about the future of our nation, we receive only distractions. We thirst for truth, meaning, and freedom, but instead find ourselves wandering through the desert of distraction and confusion. We seek leaders, but only receive figureheads. We have ceased being American. We are conservatives or liberals, environmentalists, corporate interests, Catholics, Protestants, hawks, doves, black and white. The people of America are divided among many lines, ultimately under the confines of a system of right and left. Much like the German people of the 1930s, we are isolated from clear perspective. We are so distracted by the civil war of right and left, we are unaware that our country is vanishing before our eyes. The truth is, there is no right or left. There is only right or wrong. The party bosses and ardent followers would have you believe otherwise. They would have you believe that the right is whatever party particular they belong to, and wrong is the political opposition. This might be true if the sides of today were genuine. Instead, both parties and most mainstream media organizations funnel into the same end result, total control. While the left and right bicker publicly on hot topics, the end result is the same, regardless of who is president, who is control of Congress. Less freedoms for individuals, less sovereignty for nations, losses of jobs to insane international agreements like NAFTA, the delusion of American culture, and the overextension of our military. It's been said that if you don't like what the Republicans are doing, vote for the Democrats. If you don't like what the Democrats are doing, vote Republican. It's set up like a game. I have my favorite team, you have yours. I'll back my team no matter what, just as long as your team doesn't win. The problem is, both teams are full of scandalous figures that are so busy selling you and I out for their own personal gain, they have no time or desire to help our country in this time of need. While we Americans are busy cheering our favorite politicos and jeering our least favorites, both sides are pursuing the same policy of the destruction of America. Some might say this is the way it's always been, that politicians say one thing or do another. But when the observant person looks at the end result of all these promises and lies, the picture becomes much more clear and frightening. We're being sold out. We're being transformed into a society of complete control, where those at the top completely dominate and enslave those below them. Americans are being herded into pens like cattle. Why? Because the phony left and right paradigm that mentally enslaves us all. So what's the solution? Learn and discover the truth, understanding what is happening in Congress today, learning what laws are being passed, what bills are being considered, what executive orders are being signed. It means learning the name of your representatives and letting them know that any move to violate our constitutional freedoms is purely unacceptable and will not be tolerated. The solution involves doing research on your own time. The solution involves you asking for answers. The Bible tells the story of Paul going through the city named Berea, spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. A group of Greeks there was very eager to hear the message of the Lord, but were just as eager to check the scriptures themselves to see if what Paul was saying was indeed true. I ask you to do the same. Be like a Berean. Once you do check for yourself and grasp the true reality, begin to spread the message. Check out documentaries by Alex Jones and distribute them to your friends and family. Talk to your parents and children about the Constitution and the rights we have and those that are in danger. Begin to build a base of friends that understands the truth and become involved in local government. As Jesus said, no one lights a lamp and puts it under a bowl. Instead, it's put on a lampstand where it gives light for everyone in the house. Discuss with friends and the strangers what you have seen and ask them to see for themselves and make their own decisions. The truth is powerful and contagious. It pierces through the fog of lies that our modern political situation tries to hide. It will surely make the house of cards that is the left and right paradigm fall. Then we can take back what belongs to us, freedom.
Before I comment on that, we're going to go ahead and give out the phone number if you'd like to call in. Again, the number is 1-866-986-6397. We'd like to take your calls from here for the rest of the show. I agree with you 100%. What we've got here is 1% of the population has 80% of the wealth. They control both parties. Doesn't matter who gets in, we get sold out. The rest of us don't have a party. The deck is stacked. The stage is cast. That is why when you have someone like a Pastor Baldwin running for the Constitution Party, someone that would actually represent us, the people, he can't get on the ballot in North Carolina. He can't get on in enough states to actually be effective. They exclude him from the debates. And we've got Barack Obama continuing the same failed policies of George W. Bush. If you think this is a Democrat and Republican issue, then how come when the Republicans had control from 2000 to 2006, did our national debt double and get us into this war that George W. Bush said would pay for itself? Now it's what, over $1 trillion? Now the Democrats coming in 06, things continue to get worse. The only solution I can come up with is a term limit of 1 term. Get rid of these career politicians, people like Ted Kennedy,
Arlen Specter.
The list goes on and on. Once they get in there and they make a life out of this, they make a life out of selling us out. And again, we're coming up on a break, but I want to give out the phone number again. If you'd like to call in and comment before we go off the air, the number is 1-866-986-6397. The website is therealnewsradio.com. You can email us on air at therealnewsradio.com. Again, our guest next week is Virginia Fox. We'll hold that phone call till we go through this break because we're coming up on a break. But every week we have a poll, Hypocrite of the Week, and this week on Hypocrite of the Week we had those that reduce my rights to a privilege, as in the need for a permit to protest April 15th here in Statesville. Anyone that won't recognize the Obama is constitutionally unfit for office. Google Earth Street View, a controlled grid openly being assembled. G20 members and their another trillion into oblivion. And the G20 stage anarchists, obvious police puppets to shame legitimate protesters. And the winner is those that reduce my rights to a privilege, as in the need for a permit to protest April 15th here in Statesville. You're listening to The Real News. We'll be back with our phone callers after the break. All right. We are are back on The Real News, therealnewsradio.com.